It's growing. We've got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to warm your transmitter up. So do that, and you can participate. VK3 X-ray uniform listening.
Hey Drew, is she taking orders for crumpets?
Yeah, but you'll have to come and collect them in Wonga Park.
Oh, that's not fair. Okay.
She might do a home delivery for you later this afternoon. She'll probably be out past the end of your street. What's today? The 31st of March. Any others wishing to call in? If there are no more, I think we might make a start. Go ahead, please. VK3 X-ray uniform listening. No more heard. Good morning, fellows. Good of you to turn up. It's bright and sunny here, no cloud, just a slight haze in the way distance. What is that haze that you can see? I suppose that's the accumulation of looking at clouds a long way off, or the moisture in the air a long way off. You'd know all about it, Laurie. You've probably looked at it a few 1,000 hours. That haze that you can see a long way off, it's moisture in the air, I presume, and because you're looking at the length of it, you see more of it on the horizon, something like that. I don't know. Nothing much to report from here. I'll give the list in a minute. Just been to a bit of welding. My welding's getting better. You're pleased to hear, Bob. It's getting so that I can just set the welder, get the equipment out, clean the job ready for welding, and start welding. But I'm using a bigger one than the little hobby one that I've been using up till recently. The one that I have on loan is one of those wheeled jobs. It's on 4 wheels. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to a neighbour. But he's lent it to me for safekeeping for a little while, and I've been using that, and it's a beauty. The list is as follows. VK3 Sierra Juliet, Laurie, Alpha Romeo Yankee, Roy, Alpha India Charlie, Bob, Alpha Kilo Golf, Martin, Tango Uniform X-ray, Graham, Charlie Kilo Lima, Kevin of Dandenong, Charlie Kilo Bravo, Kevin of Croydon. Not much more to add. I'll ask you, Marty, how that RA17 Resto project going? Over to you, Laurie, VK3. Glad to hear about those keys. I thought you might get some sort of response like that. They're out there, probably in their hundreds at the moment. VK3 Sierra Juliet, VK3 X-ray uniform. Then a bit of a break, Laurie, in case there's somebody sticking in the door.
The clock.
Yeah, we know that. Weren't you here earlier? I heard a grumpy man. I deduced that it was Steve. Any others?
What a shocker. Kicking off early, and I get the blame for it.
That's right. You should have been here early for a little bit of banter. We enjoy banter with you, Steve. Over to you, Laurie.
Thanks, Drew. Good morning to you, Steve. Good to hear you on. Yes, very good morning to everyone from Death Valley this morning. Very foggy, freezing cold, got down to about 2 degrees here last night, and quite cold outside. It'll probably be a fairly nice day once the fog lifts and the sun gets through, but I would imagine the view from your place there, Drew, down the valley, you'll see quite a bit of mist and fog. Likewise with you there, Grant. You've got an excellent view of the valley as well from your location. Had a very enjoyable afternoon over at Graham's place yesterday, and had a look at his shack, which is all very, very nice. If anyone, if you haven't seen it, he's got a very, very nice setup there. And also, I love your pot belly stove there to keep the place warm during the winter. So very, very pleasant afternoon indeed. And the views are actually spectacular from Graham's place too. If anyone who's been there would probably agree with me. Right, what's happening here? Well, most of you know what's happening here. doing a scrounge around for bits of this project, and it appears that now the final impediments to getting a successful completion of this project has now been achieved. I've got the switches I need. I've been able to source the dual red and white lenses for the, well, it'll be LEDs probably in this case, for the lighting on the panel. The metalwork is by and large done, except for mounting switches, of course, because I've only just got those. And it will look identical to the panel photographed in the Radio 1, PMG Radio 1 manual. What's inside it is going to be best guessed because there are absolutely no photos. And as Steve also pointed out, there were a lot of variations of these. So the reason I chose to replicate the panel that was in Radio 1, at least there is a picture as a reference, and I'm able to, by measuring the different parts of known sizes that were on the panel, like the switches and the knobs, I've been able to deduce the original dimensions of the panel, probably within about 5% of what the actual one was in reality. But as Steve pointed out, there were a lot of variations of these particular panels. But it's you know, it's going to be fully functional. It will work as intended. It will work probably the same as the original one in the ABC. Some shortcuts have to be made, of course. There's no two ways about that. The original Trimax transformers that would have been used in the ABC units are also very scarce, thin on the ground, and quite expensive even if you can find them. Where the modern equivalent will work every bit as well, a smaller to fit. And but at the end of the day, the thing has just got to work as the original did, and certainly physically it'll look the same as the original. And hopefully I'll have that probably completed within about 10 days or so. I've bought the timber for the cabinet work, and I'll have to make up a case, which was basically a desk box. The only thing I've got to find now is a ball and biscuit microphone, but they do appear on eBay from time to time at a cost. But apparently they were quite a good microphone. The ABC seemed to have them pretty well throughout the organisation. In fact, they were used right up into the 60s as well. I've seen pictures of a picture of Arch McCurdy actually using one from 1972. So I know those microphones were in existence then. I don't know much about them. Maybe you might know, Roy, or you, Steve. But I think they were a Velocity ribbon microphone. But strangely enough, the PMG manual doesn't say exactly what they were. But they're a common sight in all the pictures in the radio manual anyway. Right, we've got a fairly good group on. Couldn't come on yesterday. Diane had a appointment with the eye specialist, and she has to have these eye drops put in, and she spends the next 6 hours not being able to see. So as a result of that, I had to take her in there, and her appointment was 10:30 in the morning, which meant I didn't have a prayer getting back for the coffee break net. However, as I said, good afternoon over there with Graham, which was very enjoyable. Anyway, with that, I will pass it on to you there, Roy. Good to hear you on as well. VK3ARY to take it. VK3SJ, thanks for doing it.
Okay, thanks Laurie. VK3 Sierra Julia. This is VK3ARY, and a very good morning to everybody on this very pleasant autumn morning. Unlike your part of the world, Laurie, as I said, it was quite mild first thing in the morning when I went out for a walk, 7:20. No, Steve, I know you've just got out of bed. And a very good morning to all our listeners out there in Radio Land, glued to their wire sets, and our many listeners on Paul's SDR. Running the Heathcote DX100B this morning, about 90 watts, a bit over 90 watts up the stick this morning. And everybody is of excellent report. Yeah, as I said, it was quite mild when I went, about 15 degrees. Very dark and gloomy. I think it was the upper side of the fog. We'd only get it down low, but it looks like you do low, but you're a lot higher than we are. And then I went shopping this morning, and I did that to avoid tomorrow. There are 2 days I think you avoid shopping if you can. The day before Good Friday and the one before Christmas. And it was very quiet down there, and I was in and out in a flash, which is a good thing, so I don't have to go down there tomorrow. What else have I done? Done a bit of work around the place. And I've had a couple of deliveries from Australia Post today. Now that's a bit of a turn-up, isn't it? One was something I ordered from Sydney. When was it? Probably about Sunday afternoon, I think. And I got it this morning, and another one come from overseas, but took forever. But little white trucks are pouring down the street and delivering stuff all day long. One of the things I discovered after a while was the bane of my life with the post office and their deliveries has been that they still stick to this, signature nonsense. They don't actually want a signature, they just want to see that you're here. And finally I found, looking on their website, that you can actually opt for them to just leave it in a safe place. So I've done that. And so now they leave it on the porch. The point of those blokes is that half the time they come, they don't ring the bell. They might bang on the door, which is useless, or they don't even do anything. They just leave it there and go. And you don't even know the thing's been delivered or they've been there. And if you haven't got this arrangement asking them to leave it, they take it down to the local post office. Means you've got to go down there the next day and go through the rigmarole to get the thing. It's an absolute pest. So that's the way to go. And it's nice to actually see that things starting to come back to normal. I find actually the Australia Post now is getting a bit quicker than they have been, although I have been waiting for some stuff from overseas, from the States, some components, for quite a while, but that's not all Australia Post. I think that's the US Post Office. You can see I haven't got anything much to talk about, so let's keep it going. Over to you, Bob. VK3AIC. This is VK3ARY.
Thank you, Roy. VK3ARY. This is VK3AIC. Good morning, all. Lovely day. And it's going to get a bit better, I think, too. You're all okay on your activities there, Laurie? Sounds like you've done all right there. Well, yeah, okay about the mail. That's interesting. Couple in the one day. Blimey. I can't remember the last time we had something delivered by Australia Post. Can't remember what it was either. Yeah, interested to see how you're going with your the RA17, Marty. I had a look at the models of the Eddystone stuff that I've got. The 3 Eddystone receivers I've got. Is the HF one, which is the 680X, 680X. The next one is that goes up to 30 megs. The next one is the 770R, which covers 19 to 165. And then there's the 770U, which covers 140 to 500 megs. So they're the 3 that I was telling you about. What's that? Yeah. Still got some clean up to do outside after the grandson was up yesterday. He knocked the edge off it, so there's still a bit to go. See what happens next time round. Over to you, Marty, VK3AKG. This is VK3AIC.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, all. VK3AIC, VK3AKG. With a bit of a cough. Yes, well, it's not a bad day over in sunny Warrandyte South. The day beckons. Haven't actually been outside other than to get the newspaper. Haven't actually been outside yet. Just been doing a bit of some house duties. I'd love to give you all signal reports, but I'm on the magnificent RA17 as we speak, and I'll describe the top of the scale is marked in microamperes, 0 to 200. Then on the bottom scale, there's one indication that says 10 milliwatts, which is the I think a point in the scale, which is the audio output. I think, I'm not sure, but I think. So there's no probably no nice what's the word associatable numbers that I can provide you this morning on this receiver, but it's going very well. So I'm transmitting using Drew's valve transmitter, separate modulator, separate PA, crystal locked, and the RA17 as the receiver, and I've got the ICOM switched off at the moment. So yeah, the Raycal's going very well. I've been running it quite a bit, either listening to AM during the day broadcast stations, or tuning around at night. Haven't really tried anything above 40 metres at the moment, but yeah, mostly 160 and 40, and it's fine. It resolves CW and SSB beautifully. And AM, of course, as well. And I like the combination of the front end pre-selector and the attenuator between the two. You can really knock out offending stations or signals or verdes or whatever. Usually with those two. It's got a limiter that works to some extent, but I tend not to use that. And what else have we got? Oh yes, well we've been so in terms of the restoration. Well, I think it's a maintenance routine at the moment, so I'll wait for it to fail, and then turn to the goods and hope that I can repair it. So that'll be interesting. And then when that time comes, I'll also do some cleaning at the same time. What I need to do is just do a few spot checks around, read some of the routine maintenance things, and just get a bit of an idea of how it's actually running. I would like to do some sort of absolute check to see if it's running within specs, but maybe further down the track. Yesterday, Kath and I went into the city. She had a physio appointment at 250 Collins Street. It's a nice building on the northern side of Collins Street between Elizabeth and Swanston, that's got all of the nice copper sheet around the door frames and the windows. Used to work in that building many years ago, so yeah, it was good to go back. And then we went from there to the triennial exhibition at the NGV, which was quite good. Some broad range of modern to old art pieces from the 15th and 16th century. Was overall very one breathtaking thing was, as you walk in, there's a huge high resolution screen that's got, and it is I'm thinking about 10 to 12 metres wide and about 5 to 6 metres tall. And you can't actually see any joins. If I'm assuming it's not one panel. I didn't actually read about it, but impressive size, and they had computer generated art evolving from it. I guess if you can sort of imagine Mandelbrot's, that sort of thing, but sort of emerging on the screen. It was wonderful. And the day before that, went to the Croydon Cinema and saw Crisis, which is a movie about the misuse of opiates that are and all the various players in that sort of thing and situation. And I'd recommend that. It's a good view. Yeah, so good to see, Laurie, that the radio community has come to the fore. and got you out of your parts supply bind there. So it's good to see. And I've rambled on as usual, so without any further ado, we'll pass on to Graham. Good morning, Graham. VK3TUX, VK3AKG.
And good morning, Marty. Thank you for running us through and put it in now before I forget. Yeah, look, Lauren and I had a nice afternoon yesterday. We did our little swapsies. The two rolls that I was after were the 6AD60s. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm looking at Linear, who I use it on 40 metres. 40 metre specifically here BX40 actually that I got up to the States 2 years ago, and shall we suggest the spread start. It wasn't actually running when I got it, which is why I got it very cheap. Anyway, it didn't take very much to fix. It's just some thing put in the couple of caps back the front, and a few other little problems, and it pushed up, runs well. But when I put it on air, because it only runs about 25 watts, as I said to Laurie, I can hear stations in South Australia, in New South Wales and Queensland, but I haven't got enough power to reach them. Just don't have enough power on AM phones. So I'm doing this Linear, which will cover me for Melbourne Australia frequency. It'll cover me for the main band, and as I also have the VFO with the transmitter, I can go over all the bands. So that's what the swapsies were all about yesterday. Doing very, very well. I'm now looking at the book on the bench, working out which other parts I require. I do have quite a bit left over from having built the Linear that I'm on now. So I've got a few parts here, some of the capacitors. I've got high voltage diodes, which I'll put into it. So that's looking pretty good. I was looking to, oh by the way, Lauren and I said about the problems of the world, the first note I drew. From this point forward, the world should be very, very peaceful and stable. Lauren and I sorted it all out yesterday. It's going to go great. So the future is looking fantastic. The other thing I was going to mention too was, we talked about snow. Oh by the way, really sunny here this morning. It has been really clear, sunny, lovely and warm, but as what I said, a bit higher up. When a frost comes, we can actually sort of look out of the window and see the clouds over the valley, and we know that down there is the frost, and we drive down the road, down the hill, we get to the bottom, and it's freezing cold and icy down there. But we are normally sort of above the frost line, which is pretty good. The temperatures, the snow like we saw before, I remembered our last good snowfall was late for about 4 or 5 days, was around 1987. And then we had snow again around 1990, and 1990 I was working in Ringwood, and it snowed in Ringwood at the time, that was on that one day. And that's about the most I remember all of those things. Haven't got much else. I'm going to go to the side now for a moment and listen to the rest and enjoy it, and get back in this book and see if I can find some more parts. But good signals from all around. I don't know if anybody else found the same thing, but we all sound a little slow this morning, which we normally have a different signal. This morning it sounds just a touch fuzzy, and I don't know why, or whether it's just me not in the right spot. Anyway, I'll pass it over now too, because I'll look over my book over the set. Okay, I've got it now. So do you, Jordan, VK3 CKL for VK3 TUX.
Good, thanks, Graham. VK3 TX, VK3 CKL, and copied you reasonably well, not 100% on my own receiver. A little bit better on Paul's AR, but still not a complete copy on the SDR. Not sure if it's my ears are the problem or what. There's not a lot of noise on Paul's SDR this morning, not like
The listeners we have. Thanks for looking after the session, Drew. And okay, on your opening comments there, and good luck with the cup of tea and the crumpet. Finished my cup of coffee here. Laurie, no doubt about you, once you start something you certainly get stuck into it. I'm glad to hear the panel's coming along okay. And yeah, those ball and biscuit microphones, I'm wanting to say, we had one of them in the PA firm I worked for here in Dandenong. We had one only of those mics. Remember it quite well, but my memory tries to tell me that it's made by STC, and yet not 100% sure about that. Wouldn't bet a large amount of money on it. But no doubt you'll know who they're made by anyway. And foggy, I didn't actually look out carefully, but when I opened the curtains first of all about
probably a bit before 8 or 7:30, something like that. I didn't notice any fog. So it seemed to be quite clear. And it was about, I think it was about a bit less than 15 degrees, 14 degrees at that time, which would be, as I say, about 7:30, 7:45, something like that. What else, Roy? And all your comments on the walk and so forth, Marty, the Croydon, all good. Also the exhibition, as I say, Graham sort of probably about a 90% copy on Graham, but not a full copy. Anyway, over to Kevin at Croydon, VK3CKB, VK3CKL.
Yeah, VK3CKL, VK3CKB. Good morning all. A bit of a noisy copy from both you, Kevin and Graham, but got most of it, I think. Yeah, it's a lovely sunny morning here today. It was 15 degrees outside in the shade at the start of the session, and my wife did a lot of washing and had to go out, so gave me the job of taking it all out, so it should be a good drying day. Not much happening here. I've been working on the computer doing a map of the garden ready for an Easter egg hunt for the grandkids over Easter. Roy, I agree with you about the parcels. We've elected to have ours delivered in a safe spot, but they don't ring the bell, and usually we don't know that the parcel's been delivered until we get an email saying it's being delivered. So, oh yes, there's an email. We'll go out and check the front porch, and there it is. What else was I going to say? I'll have to make this just one over from me. My wife and I, we're going to head out to the Croydon Hills Primary School. It's Grandparents' Day for my granddaughter that's doing prep, and expecting us to come along to spend some time with her today. It's almost exactly 3 years since we did the same thing with my grandson at the same school. Yeah, good on your jury there with the welding. It sounds like you're going quite well and becoming quite an expert there. Linda and I, we got our first COVID shot on Saturday down at Wicklow down near Croydon Station, and yes, Linda actually had virtually no side effects, but I had a few side effects. They gave us a list of things that might happen, just common things, and I had several of them actually. I had a bit of nausea and insomnia, a bit of fever and a bit of ache, and pain in the arm, of course. But they sort of lasted a day or so, but come good again now. We had to make an appointment for the second shot in 12 weeks' time, so that's sort of sometime in June. Anyway, nothing much from here, so I'll put it over to you there, Steve, and good morning all, because I've got to head off pretty soon. VK3HK in the group, VK3CKB, and thanks for doing it, Drew.
Okay, just give us a second, get these things warmed up. I'm furiously involved in the laundry. Just a sec. Take it down to take it up. This is VK3HK. Yes. Well, I've missed most of what's been going on because I've been in and out of the laundry and hanging things in and out and so on and so on and so on and so on. But it is a fine day. Weather-wise, I got the lawns mowed yesterday. Woo-hoo-hoo! And the edges, you see the edges, Roy, eat your heart out. They are perfect. Oh dear. Yes. Now, some very unfortunate news has just come in. Paul's mum has died. So, yeah, as I say, very, very sad, very unfortunate, but there it is. What else? Okay, your new receiver, Marty. Yes, I've been catching little groups of things as I whip around, whip around in and out of the laundry. Ah, yes. What else? I'm not too sure what else. Thanks for the heads up on George Hunt. I just couldn't remember his call sign. I knew it was VK3Z something or other, and I knew his first name, but yeah, anyway. And as for, I didn't copy much of your over, Laurie, because I was, head and shoulders involved in the laundry, but I sent you a number of shots, and so did Nigel and sorry if you're listening. Oh dear. But anyway, what are you going to make? Are you going to make? I think you said you're going to make it with the vertical sliding faders rather than the rotary ones. I would imagine that the rotary ones would be very, very hard to source, faders, that is. Yes, I imagine you being who you are, a stickler for things, you'll try and imitate that puke green that everything was, except for the really old ones which were just black. This is the control panels. Yeah, haha, hee. Anyway, good on you, Laurie. Keep you busy, keep you off the streets. Note the 2 degrees. Don't know what it got to here because I didn't get up until so late, Roy. Must have been about 8 o'clock. But it was a little bit warm last night, I thought. But maybe after the warm came the cool. Not too sure. It didn't feel really cold here, although what happened? I walked into the lounge room and had a look at the thermostat in there, and that said 16, so it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad here last night. And it's a blessing to be able to, if required, go clickety punch on the thermostat in the lounge room, and whoompo, the gas central heating comes on, and away you go, eh? So by getting the gas furnace fixed up, I've saved myself $14,000 and a hell of a lot of concern about people crawling around under the house and pulling things apart and reinstalling. Oh, mate. So there we go. My gas furnace, gas heater, which is a Brivus, is 33 years old. The bloke, I got a fella in to service it because I hadn't had anyone look at it for 10 years, so I thought, he was absolutely amazed when he saw it. He said, geez, it's still working. Dear me. Okay, it's enough from me. This business about starting early and why didn't I come on? I didn't come on because I was working. Some of us are occupied in the mornings. Oh, and we're talking about working and occupied. That was a nice little email from Wesfarmers. Hey! VK3XU. This is VK3HK.
Thank you, Steve. Well, we're all champing at the bit. Couldn't you hear us? Champing at the bit to get going. We've already had a good swag of blokes waiting. Anyway, I was just pulling your leg. VK3 X-ray uniform. A lot of things to comment, so I'll try and stay focused. And to do that, I'll need some glasses. This pair will do. I've got 3 up in the shed at the moment. Usually one's lost, but I've got 3. From the top, your desk, Laurie, sounds absolutely fascinating. It should be good. I don't know for sure, you've probably chatted with Dave and his desk. He's got one of the originals, I think. I seem to remember seeing it in his shack. And I think also that he's had approaches from Australian filmmakers wanting a genuine ABC desk for a part in a film. And it has happened. I've seen a few films where there's a desk there, and look out. If word gets around that you've got a replica, a modern replica of an ABC desk. You might get offers of hiring it. There goes the... Oh, it's only 1:30. Because that microphone is illustrated in Radio 1, Radio 1 was always called a technical instruction. It was not a manual as such. Roy will back me up, and Bob. They were called technical instructions, weren't they, Bob? TIs for short. And I'm not pointing out an error or anything, Laurie, just that that's what they were called in the PMG. It was called a TI. They were published in-house, and you've probably been into where they used to prepare the TIs, Bob. Tell us a bit about it, because it was a whole division. There were engineers and techos in there and all sorts of other people preparing those TIs. Please tell us about it, Bob, today. That would be interesting. I remember going in to buy them. We had to buy our own for some of the unit courses. Many of them they were given free as part of the course, and you kept them, and I've still got all mine. They're very good references. Radio 1, Radio 2, Applied Electricity 1 and 2, long line equipment 1, 2 and 3, telephony 1, 2 and 3 and 4, I think. They're all still there, all my old textbooks. Absolutely, the telephony books, particularly telephony 1, 2, 3 and 4. Have you still got yours, Bob? I bet you've still got yours, Roy. It's got switchboards and the Model 300 phone. Stop it. So, getting back to Radio 1, if that microphone gets such a Guernsey in Radio 1, then you can bet that it was pretty general, because they wouldn't have wasted space in that TI for equipment that techos were not going to encounter during their working time. And it's still a very reference, that Radio 1 and Radio 2, probably collectible now. If you need any Trimax transformers, just genuine ones, I've got a few here, Laurie, but I don't know if you're after low voltage ones. I've got some higher voltage ones, like receiver voltages, transmitter voltages, Trimax. I mentioned yesterday, and I'll say it again because I think there are a few on today that weren't here yesterday. I went to see Peter Burford on Friday, and he was hale and hearty. He was in good spirits. He's got a brace on his neck, and with all the sheepskin pad and all the rest of it. He has 3 neighbours in his room, and he's getting along with them okay, and there's some very attractive women, medical people looking after him, so he's all right. But I think he called in yesterday. How he did that, I don't know, or where he was, we don't know. It was Bob. Bob was on duty yesterday. Did you mistake his voice, perhaps, Bob? Was it somebody else? The RAC 17, Marty, good on you. Are you going to recapacitate it, as has been suggested by others who have experience of the receiver, or are you going to just wait for something to go wrong? Do you believe in the policy of, if it's not broken, don't fit? Wait for one of them to break down. Please, Marty, what is the triennial exhibition? I'm sure I've seen it in the paper, but I haven't. I've seen that screen, that was on the news, but I haven't seen anything else about it. So tell us more. We often go to those things. They're a good day out. Take the train in from Ringwood. Take the train in, and it's no parking rooms. Free trip. Graham, I believe you probably run a wood fire. If you're short of firewood, I don't think you would be. You've probably got tons of the stuff. But if you are short of it, you're welcome to drop in here and load your trailer up. Same goes for you, Laurie. That offer stands. And I can cart it for you. You don't have to cart it. I can bring it up there with the barrow. 40 metres was open late yesterday afternoon to Europe and the United States, Kevin. I've Dandenong worked quite a few on CW, but I should think they were there up the other end of the band as well. I'm not an expert welder yet, Kevin of Croydon. I think it would be passable. I still make a lot of that cocky dropping. Steve, Nigel Holmes's friend is Marks. I only know him as Marksy. He's got a website. In fact, his website is well worth looking at. Just Google Marksy's Musings. MARXY''S Marksy's Musings. Get into it and you'll see what he's been doing. He builds nice stuff. Paul's mum. Paul, condolences. Now, Steve, you might have tried to look for The Road to Nil, the film. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. All I could find was a couple of little excerpts. The film, as far as I could find it, I tried hard, Steve, I tried hard. Couldn't get a copy on YouTube that was free of charge. But it might be out there somewhere. You're much better at finding films than I am. It's well worth looking at. It is the funniest film. It's right up there with The Castle. It's that sort of film. It's a beauty. About these rescue blokes. You hear about some ladies, bowling ladies, that have turned their car over and they make a complete muck of it. In fact, I did hear that it was used as a training film for SES and ambulance and police. I've gone on long enough. Sorry to go on so long, and I forgot to set the timer. I'll be better next time. Back to you, Laurie. VK3 Sierra Juliet. Just looking at my... There's nothing more to say. I'm not going to say any more. VK3 VK3 X-ray uniform.
Thank you, Drew. VK3 X-ray uniform, VK3SJ. Okay, a couple of comments to make. Well, first of all, Paul, if you're listening, our condolences from myself and Diane. I knew your mother wasn't well, and sad to hear that she has passed. So sorry to hear that, Paul. And I know it's probably going to be a fairly difficult time for you for a little while, but that's basically life, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Now, the microphone, STC microphone, is an STC 4021. Now, we're using the BBC as well. In actual fact, a number are for sale on eBay at the moment that are ex-BBC. But I am not going to pay £471 for them, not to mention shipping it here. And that's a little bit too outrageous, but they were considered to be a top-class microphone by both the BBC and the AC. And I would imagine the ABC got them because the BBC had them. But they were obviously quite a good broadcast microphone in their day. And as I said, you know, they're still available second-hand on eBay, but I'm not paying that sort of money for one. I'd rather get a billiard ball from somewhere and convert it, because they actually did look like a black billiard ball with a disc over the front of them. So I think a little bit of creativity could probably recreate one that looks exactly the same as what the ball and biscuit microphone is, and then just put a electret wide diaphragm cartridge or something in it. And anyway, that's for the future. The Trimax transformers I was referring to, Drew, are actually audio transformers. They're not power or power transformers. They are for audio, and they're used for creating the balanced lines that operated from the various points, and also the fact the microphones and all the peripherals in a studio were all balanced line, and they used these transformers pretty much to couple everything to everything. Bob would be familiar with them, I'm pretty sure, and Bob might make some comment on that. But they're the transformers that I need, but I have got the smaller version. I just haven't got the originals that would have been used in the original desk. However, that is one of the concessions I'm actually making to this, because they're sight unseen anyway. Unless you want to pull the desk apart, you'd never ever know whether they were there or not. And I'll use the more modern equivalents to achieve my balanced line work. From the point of view of the internals. The valve lineup will be the same. It'll say have lane flush of 6J7Gs and 6V6s in the monitor and 6SN7s and so forth. Pretty much what the, well, I'm journalising a little bit, but I just know that with reference to the Radio 1 manual and the fact that they were used quite exclusively in the amplifiers, in the pre-amplifiers, there is absolutely no reason why I won't do the same. The desk, Steve, I'll get some photos out to you today because the thing is starting to look like a mixer desk now, and you can have a look for yourself. The original colour, I believe, was some sort of a satin black. It wasn't wrinkle finish, but Roy will probably know more about this. But from the ones I've actually seen and the ones that are in the book appear to be in some sort of satin black. So these were built in an era well before the vomit green Chiltern desks, which is what Dave's got. He also had one of the very, very early ones, but I'm not sure he's still got that. But from what I understand, they were some sort of a satiny black colour, the original desk, like a little bit like an ebonite type panel colour. As I said, physically it will probably look identical to what you'll see in the book. Electrically it'll probably vary. It has rotary faders, Steve. I don't think sliders were even around back in the day these things were made. And I would also think, looking at them and coupled with the valve lineup that they had, that they were probably made somewhere around early 40s, perhaps, or even perhaps post-war, about 1945. So anyway, I've waffled on enough, and I'll pass on to you there, Roy. Thanks for doing the session, Drew. Fine job as always, and look forward to catching up with everybody again tomorrow. So VK3ARY to take it. This is VK3SJ. Cheers to all.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. VK3 Sierra Juliet. This is VK3AR1. Thanks for doing it this morning, Drew. The usual excellent job. And yes, if you're listening, Paul, I'm very sorry to hear about your mum. I have some idea of what you're going through, and it is a very sad time, so we're all thinking of you. So let's hope, it's not too bad. Laurie, 471 pounds for one of those old microphones. Here's a thought, if you're not in any great hurry. It might pay to put an ad in the HRSA magazine. Some of those old blokes there have got all sorts of things. You might just pick one up for a song. And it's not going to cost you anything. You might just have to wait for a while before they get the next magazine out. But there's a thought for what it's worth. And sliders, well, back in the 40s and 50s, never even heard. They weren't even available in those days. They were all rotary faders, that's for sure. Uncle Bob, okay, on the Eddystone receivers, he's got a 680X here. I've been looking for a 680 for a while. They're pretty rare. There's quite a few 680Xs around. The 680 was the original one with a square gear-driven dial. But to be honest, I haven't seen one in many, many years. William Willis used to have one in the window around about 1950. I think he wanted £300 for it, which was an absolute fortune. It's a bit like having $1 million today. It's about how much it cost. As far as penniless bloody tech and training was concerned, it was right out of my area. Okay, on your grass, Steve, yeah, I cut my outback lawn yesterday, and by gosh, it was long. And I'd only cut it a few days before. We haven't had that much rain, but more than enough rain to keep it going. And yes, I'm aware that West Farmers are doing the right thing today, and quite a few other very good companies have been doing the right thing over the last few days, so which is a good thing. And okay, on the washing, yeah, I'll be doing mine on Saturday because it looks like it's not going to rain. Usually does every Saturday, but this week it looks okay. All right, well that's enough from me. I haven't got any more to add, so have a good day everybody, and hopefully I'll see you all again tomorrow. Over to you, Bob. VK3AIC, and this is VK3ARY. Cheers everyone.
Yeah, I'd say cheers, Roy. I know you're going to head off right now, which you usually do. Drew, the welder, yes, you'll find that the bigger welders always start easier because you've got a bit more grunt behind you. The internal resistance is down. And they're generally a lot easier to start. Some of them even have a pilot arc that sort of helps a bit. But they're mainly the old three-phase heavy-duty industrial things. With regards to the publications put out by the PMG, they were EIs, engineering instructions, not technical instructions. EIs, engineering instructions, and the others were CPs, which was course publications. They were the ones that accompanied the courses later on, especially the add-on courses and whatever. They were usually put out by writers in each different area. They didn't have a pool of people that created these things. When digital radio first came out, as far as the microwave stuff, was we in Victoria and New South Wales and a little bit from Tassie put together the digital side of the microwave systems. So that's what happened later on. So engineering instructions and course publications, they were the things. The microphones for the studios, yes, very interesting. That's for sure. It's probably a good idea that Drew came up with. With regards to the Trimax transformers, if you really wanted one of the early ones, Laurie, I've got one of those. And I know exactly where it is. I'm quite happy to swap it for a later one. It's the Multap primary ones, where you can create a centre tab for a phantom circuit or a remote power feed or whatever. So I've got one, maybe two, I'm not sure, but I know I've got one exactly easy to get to. What else was there? Oh, the faders. The rotary faders, they were in actual fact a 600 ohm device, usually of a pi construction. A pi construction. Constant impedance, and they stepped through. They had little studs that the wiper went round on. There was no really wiping contacts or carbon track or anything like that. They were wired resistors between each stud, and allegedly constant impedance all the way through. And they were on the ins and outputs of all of the various stages. Okay, that's about it from me. Have a good one, fellas. We'll catch you later. I may be going down the club tomorrow. Okay, I think Marty's gone. Well, put it over to him anyhow, but I think he's going. VK3AKG, if not TUX, VK3AIC. Cheers all.
Thanks, Bob. I'm still here, buddy. I'm still here. Haven't gone yet. Look, I probably didn't say it before, but all stations are coming in very, very well. Absolutely no problem copying anyone this morning. Yes, so Paul, yeah, sorry to hear about the passing of your mum. And I know that it was certainly a significant event for me, so I really feel for you. And I hope you can band together with the family and give her a darn good send-off, because it's probably like every other mother on the planet. It's what we deserve to do, to celebrate incredible contribution. You know, there's nothing. So it's very special, you know, to think about the person that one of the people that brought you into the world. So yes. Sorry to hear that. And yes, this RA17, Drew, I'm really quite enamoured. I don't know whether you saw any of the pictures that I sent out, but it's the front panels and all them and dials have cleaned up beautifully. It seems to work fine. There's a couple of suspect capacitors underneath that I probably need some immediate attention. But other than that, other than checking, what I would like to do is give it a check over to sort of identify if there are any, weak points that are likely to fail that maybe I can start with. But anyway, it's fix on fail, I guess, going to be the approach. And Bob, yes, I've been looking at the 680X on Google, and it's a mighty handsome set. And just a quick look at the schematic. It appears to have two front-end stages, which is pretty unusual, followed by normal mixer and a couple of IFs and a push-pull output too, which is pretty good. Anyway, yes, a mighty ham set. So I'll have a look into that. Good, and good on the heater, Steve. Glad to hear that you and Glenda can be cosy and comfortable inside the confines of your own house. And the triennial exhibition at the NGV, Drew, it's free. You just got to book. I think you've got to book because they have to control the flow in and out. But it's contemporary. Well, it's really it's a broad representation of art forms actually. Modern. Some of the modern stuff I'm not always. If I connect with modern art, then it's just meaningless to me, and I just walk away, and it just if it says nothing to me. But some of it does, and some of the pieces here do. So well, it's like all art exhibitions. Some turns you on, some doesn't. Some connects and some doesn't. And but there's a lot of good stuff there. There's art related to the current issues that have been pushed or espoused in recent times, and I suppose that's all good too. What else have we got? Fix on fail. Look, that's about it. Nothing further to add, so great to talk to everyone, and thank you for running the show today, Greg. Drew? Greg, I don't know even who Greg is. And good to hear everyone, and look forward to, won't tomorrow, because we are going into the city for lunch, and then probably be on Friday. So good morning all, and over to you, Graham. VK3TUX, VK3AKG.
Not by the transport I'm looking at the moment. Everything else is going pretty well. It's a beautiful day coming up. I'm obviously going to have to get out there, and I've got to spray the pumpkins and so forth today. Might be able to go and cut the grass. Last night, the winter's coming. Last night I was sitting watching TV and I said, do you want to give that scooter a walk across the land there for a while? I said, crikey, that's the third one in as many weeks. Obviously it's autumn. Has to go a bit dry though, because normally when the weather changes over we get some trapdoor spiders, but at the moment we seem to have scorpions on the roof, so it might be a dry winter than we originally thought. I don't know. Of course this may have no bearing, it's just an idea. Look, thank you everybody for your company this morning. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I
they got there so to do something. Probably will look for a profit if you want, and I will get them you all later on. I'll pass over now to Kevin, CK3, CKL, CK3, QX.
Good, thanks there, Graham. And
Tom, I was fiddling around with the bandwidth on Paul's SDR, and reducing the lower side helped a little bit with the copy, but still not 100%, but got most of it, which is good. Paul, if you're listening, sorry to hear about your mum, and sincere condolences on that. Keep the shit up there, Paul. Nobody answered Drew's query on Peter. Called again yesterday. From memory, thinking back, I thought I heard Peter call in also. Well, I heard someone call in. I was pretty sure it was Peter, but maybe not. But anyway, hope Peter is getting along okay too. My memory regarding the STC microphone, well, okay there, Laurie, on that. Had a look on eBay and two came up, different models, one at $650 and one at about $450, I think, something like that. The $450 one looked more like the type of thing that I remember it being. Nothing much more from here. Cheers all round. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for looking after the session, Drew. The only other thing I was going to say, that Roy mentioned the delivery men from the post office, and a couple of days ago I noticed that the front door mat had disappeared. It just ain't there anymore. And and if you're wandering past the house, you wouldn't even know it was there unless you deliberately had a look and to see what was available to pinch. And but someone stuck in a fancy to it, and it wasn't a fancy mat, just a cheap things in the market. But anyway, somebody liked it, but it's gone. Cheers all round, as I said, and cheers to all listeners. VK3. Kevin at Croydon, VK3 CKB, VK3 CKL.
Kevin did say he might have to pop off early. Kevin? Over to you, Steve.
Okay, VK3HK. Yes, the day is continuing to improve. Very, very fine weather out there. Late autumn. And yes, now the road to nil. I can't find it. You can watch it online. Cost you $8. And also the National Film Archives. I think they have a copy as well. I don't know how much they'd want for it, but an arm and a leg, I would think. I imagine you would go along with that summation, Laurie. Yes. Yeah, like you, Laurie, I donated quite a bit of stuff, very old stuff, very old photographs and so on from Coniston, the Coniston cattle station, when my step-grandfather. And you know the story, Laurie. Been there, done that. Okay, so road to nil. It's like a real hoot. Road to nil follows the events of a lazy summer's afternoon in the town of Pyramid Hill, population 550. I presume that's a made-up place in central Victoria. One day, a carload of lady bowlers flips over on the way home from a tournament at Quambatook. Confusion escalates as word about the accident spreads around the town. No one knows for certain who was in the car, how bad the accident is, or even where it is. Is it on the old Nil Road, or is it on the road that goes directly to Nil? Husbands go in all directions in search of their wives. Helpful passers-by take the women involved in the accident in other directions. The ambulance gets lost, and the local police misses the accident altogether. So it sounds like a real hoot. Okie dokie, that's it. Back to you, Drew. This is VK3HK.
Steve, Pyramid Hill does exist.
My goodness gracious me, that's almost as bad as Quambatook.
Well, when you're heading north up to Kerrang, Quambatook is on the left-hand side of the highway a bit, and Pyramid Hill is off to the right a bit.
We've got 1 minute. Who remembers the famous radio amateur at Quamatook?
Wasn't it?
That's right. What was his name?
Bruce Mann.
Bruce Mann, Quamatook. I had 1 or 2 of his old books in the library. That's how I remember that, or partially remember it. Thank you for the session this morning. It's all interesting, and it was particularly good today. Do have a look at Marxie's website, Marxie's Muses, if you're interested. It's a good read. And that film, well, I'll have to look into that myself, Steve, see if I can get a copy from somewhere, because I want to see it. It's a beauty. It's got Alwyn Kurtz and a crowd of, a swag of those well-known, and that you probably can get on YouTube, also worth a look, is Newsfront, Newsfront, Newsfront. It's a beauty. It's got Wendy Hughes in it, the voluptuous, lovely Wendy Hughes, and a crowd of other blokes. Another very similar film. I'm now going to go and see if I can find that on YouTube. Cheerio, everyone. Enjoy your day. Thanks for being here this morning. This is VK3 X-Ray Uniform.
Newsfront is available on Netflix, and I'm pretty sure you've got Netflix.
We have got Netflix. Laurie was there too. Laurie?
Drew, I can get the DVD of that for you.
Oh, good. Would you? And then I can do a copy and send one to Steve.
Okay, no problem at all. Yeah, there's one advertised on eBay at the moment for $10.
I'll give you the money next time I see you. I'll swap it for some firewood. How about that?
No problem. I'm just on a second. I'm just going into eBay now, and I'll snap it up.
You'll get $100 worth of firewood for that $10 disc, Laurie.
I'm not worried about that. I'd just give the thing to you. I wouldn't be too worried about that. But I'm just about to hit buy now. Just stand by while I do this.
You get the information about the publications, Drew?
Yes, I remember. EIs, Engineering Instructions. I misremembered. I've still got all mine, by the way. I've still got every EI I was given.